All right. Hey, everyone. Daniel Ramsey here. I have the distinct pleasure of talking to Scott Lowry, who is a client. And also, you're in an accountability group with me, and we've known each other for 3-4 years. And you just happened to recently hire a virtual assistant. And I'd love to hear like what that experience has been for you. Like, how has it shifted your life, made your sky bluer, sun brighter? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it's been a process for me because I have another business where I had a big team, and I recently transitioned into this other business that we have, the Flourishing Leadership Institute, with our shared friend John Berghoff, and that's a different environment. It's a small core team, and so I immediately went from having a team where I have an idea, I need stuff gets done, it just kind of gets done. Right. Running a bigger company to being a member of a 3-4 person team where we are, in a growth phase right now. And there's just a ton of things to do. And I just, immediately found myself, overwhelmed with a lot of the day to day and anything that would pop up related to client work, events that we're doing, building the platform for the future, and just started to think, what might some solutions be? And you and I had talked several times. I've always been intrigued by the idea of getting a virtual professional, so to speak. And just, really got to the point where I didn't really have a choice. I needed to do something. The pile was getting higher and about to tip over and completely engulf me. And so I just took the plunge, not necessarily knowing exactly how it was going to go, but I figured I wanted to try something, and it's been fantastic. It's worked incredibly well, exceeded all my expectations in terms of helping me, find different ways to create leverage, be more productive, get back on top of things, and I'm really, I'm super pleased with the results already. And we've really I think it's only been 3.5-4 weeks since we've gotten started, and there's been an immediate positive impact, which I was really excited about. Yeah.
So you're using us to save time, and you're unique in the fact that you own, and why I immediately was like, this guy's brilliant. You own multiple businesses. So this is just one of your businesses that you're currently kind of stepping into to help scale it. And so you've scaled $1 million businesses on the regular. Like, that's what I love about, being a friend of yours. And what is your time worth? And what is it like leveraging a virtual professional? And what going through this process? I mean, you've only been with us for 30 days. You've already given us a ton of referrals and recommendations, and you're doing this video. So what's that been like for you?
Yeah. So, I think just trusting that somebody like Christelle, who's the person that you hooked me up with, I didn't necessarily know exactly how she was going to help me do something as basic and as important as just getting a handle on my inbox, so to speak. And, I like I said, I moved into a completely different environment where in the past with my team at the digital marketing agency, I was set up more in an executive role. I was, there wasn't a ton of like to-do stuff, like things that like I had to actually execute on day to day. I was getting more involved with, kind of guiding and developing and coaching the team. In this earlier stage company that John and I are running, just the reality of the situation is there's just more stuff that I actually have to do and think about and design. And so, so Christelle, for, one thing that she's been helping me with that's been amazing is just basically processing email. And I wasn't sure how that was going to go. And I just sort of said, here's a few ideas. She jumped in, she started working on things. We got set up using Slack, which I think is a great idea. And we also have a very simple project management system. We're using a system called Monday. Yeah. And so between Slack and Monday, she sort of jumped right in, and we had a general idea, and then she would just ask me, hey, what about emails like this? And once or twice a week, she would sort of put a list together and say, okay, we're making progress. Like literally, I think when she started, I had, close to 2,000 emails that I hadn't even looked at. And I've never really been in that position before because I usually stay on top of my stuff, but there was just a point where things kind of tipped over.
Right.
And, within that first week, she had gotten it down under 1,000 because I think there's a, you know how it is. I mean, half the stuff that comes in is just total junk. And so she was able to like sort through everything and just gradually over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, got it back down to where we were managed. And then almost on a 2 to 3 times a week, we would check in, and now we have a great system where she's processing stuff and organizing stuff, and I can just jump in, and I'm spending, an hour a day, like in email, which in the past I'd spend 3 or 4 hours a day just processing, staying on top, kind of sorting, prioritizing, things like that. So that's like a core thing that's been really great. Just one example. And then because of her, showing initiative, showing the fact that she's, able to, really attentive to detail, coming up with new ideas and improvements on what we talked about. Like that was great because I didn't know if this was going to be a situation where I had to design everything and like I don't have time to do that. Like I'm like already overwhelmed. Do I have to create all the processes? And we talked about at the beginning as she came up with new ways of doing things. She's been documenting things because I've told her we're growing. We're going to need more help. And I can see a point in time where we're bringing on other virtual professionals, and then Christelle can train those people. So she's already planning to replace herself. And I also said, hey, you may find another opportunity. She's great. She's super talented. Who knows? She may find that she wants to do something different, which is great. We're very open about that. So she's documenting everything that she's doing. So I'm not feeling risk as if she turns over for one reason or the other. I feel very confident that we'd be able to onboard somebody pretty quick with the basic stuff. So that experience led me to get her more involved with some of our other operations processes. We run a big training. There's a lot of repeatable stuff that we do when we onboard people that are signing up for our training. I've gotten it down to, I used to spend 5 or so hours per enrollee, just everything that we're doing through the whole process of interviewing and things like that. I've gotten that down to an hour where I'm just doing the interviews and she's handling all the scheduling. She's handling all the follow-up. She's sending all the applications. She's doing all the processing of the tuition and things like that. And that happened pretty quick because it was repeatable. I did a couple of screen share videos where I basically enrolled a student and literally did it one more time. And she picked it up and she's been doing it. And so now, like literally anytime I go, wait a minute, I do this frequently enough, I'll literally just take a minute, I'll do a screen share, I'll say, all right, Christelle, this is the thing, this is what I do, put it in our operations manual, and it's yours now. And she's like, awesome, she loves it. And it's like, it's almost like a fun game now. I'm like, what else can I have her do? And we have her set up. She's got a, it's the, what's the name of the name of the company, you guys use it all the time. It's the sister company of Zoom,
Ring Central.
Ring Central, yeah. So she's set up on Ring Central. She can make phone calls and text. I think we're paying $40 a month for her to be able to do that from the Philippines. So she's doing like random things. Like literally the other day we got our windows replaced in our house, and one of the windows was broken during the install. And I haven't, like, literally every time I see it, I'm like, I got to get that done. I was like, oh, great. I took a picture, I slacked it to Christelle. I said, hey, can you call these guys and tell them like what the hell's going on with this window? And she's on, she took care of it.
Right.
And it's like that kind of stuff, like just never would get done in the past forever, So just like little one-off things, anything that is like recurring. So it's been great. It's given me a great sense of relief. My primary role in the company is to build the scalable platform, so to speak.
Right.
And now I've been through the process of going from, 5 people to 10 people or 20 people to 50 to 75 to 150 people in businesses before. It is super challenging to go from like 3 people to 4 people to 6 people to 7 people, in terms of like picking the right people and knowing they're reliable. And like right now, I feel like I've like discovered this new sort of unlocking mechanism, where a lot of the stuff that we do, I feel really confident. And you guys set me up with, I think we interviewed 4 people.
Yep.
And it was really like, I was like one of the 4, I think would be doing a great job. And it was really like, well, I think Christelle would be great. And she is. And I feel like the process that we went through and meeting her, you guys were really efficient in getting, I think I said, I want help. And they said, when do you want to start? I said, like yesterday. I think we were interviewing within like 3 or 4 days. And she literally started the next day. They were like, do you want to start on Monday? I was like, well, it's Thursday. Tomorrow's good. Let's go. And she started that next day. And, I think that was just a little over 3 weeks or maybe 4 weeks ago. And it's been really great.
What's crazy is what I've heard is she's given you probably 20, 30 hours of your day back or of your week back. That's one of the things I've heard. She's helped you fix broken windows that's a frustration that, I have. I've got something I got to fix at my house that I haven't done. Right. And now you're able to scale your business because of MyOutDesk. That's what I've heard. Is that what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're at this tricky phase right now where we're designing a lot of things for the business. We're attending to existing customers. We're growing and adding clients all the time. And so I was at a point prior to Christelle joining the team where I was just trying to like hold the line. I was just treading water. And so now I'm able to, we have a huge event this week. I was able to put a lot of time into really designing and a whole sales strategy, which in the past it would have been like, let's just take the best of what we had for the last one and see if it'll work. We were able to update everything, update the whole process, spend a lot of time getting ready for that. While, I think we processed like 4 or 5 enrollments like this past week. And I had already interviewed these folks. So it was like no time for me. Like I saw they were ready for the next step. I said, all right, Christelle, let's move this person to the next step. And I see her very soon. She'll just do that. Like she's already getting a handle on what our operations are like, where I wouldn't even have to mention that. Like she would notice that, a payment came in or an application came in, and then she could just keep me posted. Hey, so-and-so's moving on to the next step. Awesome. Right. And so my mindset about it was, okay, well, do I have enough kind of basic administrative stuff? But what Christelle has done is demonstrate to me that I don't need to think about it that way. Yes, she can handle all that, and she really likes it. It's clear to me that she enjoys being busy and handling that stuff and just knocking stuff off the list, so to speak. But I'm also, because of how she's shown up and how she's been proactive and I mentioned her attention to detail has been exceeding expectations. I'm thinking about the whole next level of support, and I'm excited about that because again, it gives me a sense of confidence as we think about growth, that I don't have to, I know what it's like trying to build a team from scratch. And a big part of what we're doing, Christelle's going to be able to help with. And I was talking to the CEO that took over for me at my digital marketing company, and I was telling him what was going on. I could see his wheels turning, because we've got, a big team over there. And I think he's realizing that there's probably a lot of roles at Fathom where he might be able to take advantage, because I'm giving him, I think there's a lot of preconceived ideas of like, what's this going to be like? Is it, we do a lot of healthcare and higher ed work, concerns about security and things like that. And, I had a lot of those concerns too, but I mean, Christelle has all my credit cards. She has all my addresses. And I'm fine with it. partly because I know you, so I'll come find you if there's, but also probably like, look, we live in a day and age if something goofy's going on, we identify it right away. There's protocols and safeguards and things like that. And so I chose to get over that, and it's been great. It's just made it easier for things to get handled, at this point. So I've been really happy with it.
That's awesome. Scott, one last question. What would you have to pay for a similar like person physically in your office? And I guess it's a two-part question. Do you see any difference at all?
Yeah. So my estimate would be 3 times.
$60,000-$70,000.
Yeah. I think to maybe not quite that, maybe 50,000, 45, 50 to have, somebody dedicated. I think one of the nice things about working with Christelle is she is like super like focused and available. And, we've worked with college interns, for example. We've got a lot of universities in the Northeast Ohio area, and it's very difficult to have like consistency. Like Christelle's like, she's on the ball at 8, she works through till 5, she takes an hour off for lunch, and she's like super consistent, super reliable. That's really valuable, because a lot of my stuff is sort of like immediate. I'll shoot her off a quick Slack message and she's like, boom, it's done,
Right.
And so that, that predictability, that certainty, that consistency of just having the, ready support, that's not typical. I think when I've worked with folks in these types of roles, there's a lot more like, hey, I got to do this. Hey, I got to do that. Or, oh, I got to run out, which is fine. Like, I don't mind that. Like, I'm super flexible, but it's like awesome to just not have any question. Like and I'd be fine. Like if she was like, didn't respond for an hour or something, it's like no big deal, but that's never really happened. I mean, she's just like, boom, right, like on it, Right. So I think the consistency, the reliability, just super competent, friendly. We've already started to get to know each other. She's talking about her, her kids and her husband, and, she went to her high school reunion, and that's really fun too. And I think, I was open to like inviting her in as being part of the team, but that's been fun to sort of like get over this idea, like, oh, she's in the Philippines. Like, that's so far away, but it's like, look, I mean, we do so much business these days. It doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah. And so do you regret not doing this 3-4 years ago when we first met?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Cause it would have been, this last 6 months has been, I promoted my chief operating officer to take over the digital marketing company back in March. Yep. And it's been just a blur, working with John and building up the company. And it would have made a big difference in the past 6 months if we had made this move a little bit sooner. And at the same time, maybe it was good timing because I needed to go through that. I've been through this process of, buying a company or getting involved with a new team. It takes 3, 4, 5 months to sort of like figure out what the hell's going on. And sure. So the timing was probably good, but I'm super glad that I have the knowledge now of how this works and get over a lot of the limiting beliefs that I had about what this would be like. And, I'm really, really stoked.
Well, you did the brilliant thing of getting Slack, using Monday, having a Ring Central, mm-hmm. trusting your person, doing the video recording, mm-hmm. like those things are next level. Like if all of our clients did that, we'd have an exponential, difference in the results, because those are the that's true leadership, and the virtual professionals will glom onto it. They want to serve, they want to do a
Yep.
great job. And so you've empowered them with all the information and all the systems that they need to do so. So
Yes.
Scott, I appreciate that about you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a client and being an awesome guy. And
Yeah.
we can share in that scale story, man. You've scaled one business, maybe we can scale this other one.
Oh yeah. Well, it's gonna happen. So we're on it.
All right, brother. Thanks for your time today.
Hey, you're very welcome, Daniel. It's great catching up.